Welcome to the next episode of the Cultivated Culture. We have a super special guest today. It's Will Curtis. Will Curtis. He
Hi, Will Curtis.
thanks for joining us. Um,
Pleasure being here.
yep. And for a lot of folks who are tuning in um, that don't know who Will Curtis is, let me fill you in on why he is such a special guest and why we wanted to have him on the show today because he was a running back for us at Steinbrenner High School. Um, and like most running backs, always successful on the field, also successful off the field. But Will's story is one that you have to stay and listen to because it is a completely different story than all the others you've heard in all the other episodes. A very inspirational story and probably one of the best triumph over tragedy stories that we have heard because Will in 2018, 17, got injured. And then it ended his high school football career, but it didn't shut him down. It didn't keep him down because um, later on in 2020, after everything that he had gone through that injury, he became a national champion, NPC teen overall physique national champion, and through his busy schedule now, believe it or not, he is a member of the U.S. national team for sitting volleyball. Um, they just returned back from China in April, and he would have been our first Olympian, um, but they just fell short after 6-2 record. They lost to the Ukraine in the finals. That's a mouthful. Will, thank you again for joining us. Tell us first and foremost, where are you? Are you here in Tampa or are you still out and about?
Yeah, so moved up to Brooksville, got my own place about 10 months ago. So moved a little bit north, but still in the area.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And we, like I said, we haven't, like most of our players, we don't get to see and spend a lot of time with you after you leave us at Steinbrenner. Uh,
Underneath your
Tell
clothes.
us what's new. Tell us what's been going on, just life in general right now. What are you up to?
Yeah, it's been a lot of travel this year since making the national team. Been going to Oklahoma a lot for training. Once a month we're over there, and then had China in April, and then actually leaving to the Netherlands next week. So really
What?
busy with that. Um, so that'll be a fun week. We're over there. So,
Nice. Who are you
but
guys and what event and who are you guys playing over there in the Netherlands?
so the Netherlands, I forget the event name, but we'll be playing. I think Canada's going. I think we're gonna see Iran there. A lot of the teams that have actually qualified for the Paralympics will be there to kind of see the competition. So, but we wanted to go, and we're gonna see how we can compete against them.
Uh,
And fine tuning some things.
that's
Awesome.
awesome. Tell us what position you play, Will.
So right now I'm a setter on the national team. So just always been playing volleyball since I was little, like 5 years old. Played club volleyball in Tampa, and then stopped. Took that break during football at Steinbrenner, and then back to it now.
That's awesome. Let's shift. Let's talk about Steinbrenner. How long were you did you play football before you got to us at Steinbrenner?
I was on the Canes, I think when I was
Oh,
in seventh grade. So
Carrollwood
a little
Hurricanes.
bit. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
It's been I'd say about at least 7 years. Moved
Nice.
after I moved to Florida, so we'll say seven.
Okay. And tell us, oh, bless you. Tell
Oh,
us
thank you, thank you.
what position did you want to play?
For running back or volleyball?
No, no, when you got to high school football with us.
Okay, yep. I'd say it was running back or wide receiver for sure. One of the two.
Nice. And what was your first impression when you found out that Coach Puskis and I were going to be your coaches?
I was pretty ecstatic. I knew you guys were the fun coaches, and but you made your point, and you made it a point that you were not going to let the running backs be goofing off too much. But you certainly knew how to have some fun. So
Nice. And you know what? We still have fun. We are still the fun coaches. You know, fact check that one, right?
Yeah, you
We're-
take that, Coach
yeah.
Perez.
But let's keep going, right? So now 2017 happens, right? And here we are. You are getting reps, you're playing well, you're strong as a horse, right? And you have an accident. Tell us a little bit about what happened in the accident.
Yeah. I'd say the accident, it was we were doing all the practices leading I think it was week 2 of
Hmm.
the junior season. But yeah, I ended up it was just leaving football practice, and I hit a car that was turning and just wasn't going very fast, but I was even braking to avoid it, but still got the motorcycle and the car left leg was in between, and it was in 11 pieces, and it actually severed the femoral artery there.
Oh
um,
wow.
Also broke my jaw, but things like that, it was pretty crazy that it just stopped like that. Week 2 thought things were going to work out pretty well, like you said, working hard, um,
Yeah.
and then it just ended. So
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah. It was
Wasn't Coach Bosco like one of the first guys on scene to with you?
I believe so. Marcelo, I definitely
yeah.
remember being right
Yeah.
next to me after I hit
Yeah.
the car, but I don't remember a whole lot. I wish I remembered the helicopter ride. I got airlifted, and I don't remember it at
Wow.
all. So
Wow. But that's shock. You were in shock, but you know what? We also were in shock because just like you said, we're all leaving from football practice. And in a blink of an eye, life can change. In the blink of an eye, you know what you thought plan A was for your life, all of a sudden shifts and changes. Now tell us, after the accident happens, what is the process or what was the process of recovery of the plan that they had for you for the leg when you injured it?
yeah, we spent like over 3 months in the hospital, just trying
Wow.
to figure out what we wanted to do with it at first, and then it resulted over 2 years, 24 surgeries, and then decided to amputate it because it wasn't getting well enough. It wasn't getting the blood flow that was needed. So we ended up when I graduated high school at 18, um, I said I want to amputate it for quality of life, to be
Yeah.
able to do things again, walk
Yeah.
without pain. So the doctor didn't agree with me at first because I was so young making this decision, and he wanted to save the leg too. So I just asked, I was like, just take a picture of the leg and tell me if I was right or wrong. Um, and he ended up coming back to the surgery room and was like, you made the right decision to amputate it, because it would have healed. And that was the biggest decision of my life. And right there, it just started to be lots of physical therapy, learning how to walk again. For the first time was the weirdest thing ever. So it was pretty interesting, that process.
So
Uh,
I've Coach Austin and I both had our fair share of surgeries. Now, nothing like your process. I've had a surgery here, surgery there, and it's tough, man. Like one surgery, knee surgery, mindset is just in the dumps. Like, talk to us about sitting in a hotel or not a hotel, a hospital bed for 3 months. Definitely not a hotel, but hospital bed for 3 months. Like, what's how do you keep your mindset right?
It
Was it
was
brutal?
I mean, there was definitely some painkillers involved with that. But no, it was not fun at all. I tried to Some of the guys would come from football, they play Xbox Madden against me. And it'd just be a great time to pass time, and it was great. The support around it. Just Steinbrenner football alone was, I think, right after the accident, I hear stories all the time that there were guys getting slushies outside the hotel room, and they were just visiting, and having that community around it was really something huge for the recovery process. Um, that's it was truly just the biggest support ever, to be able to go from there and feel confident moving forward was awesome.
What was it like getting back to school after a few months off? Was it tough transition or
Oh
was
yeah,
everyone real supportive?
everyone was really supportive. It was tough for me. It was interesting. It's called hospital homebound,
Yep.
and you call in, and you do your classes, and you go through all your schoolwork. So it was interesting to go from that and then back to real classes, because like, oh, I gotta go back to school, get in there. So it was definitely a weird shift, but ended up graduating on time. That was a big thing. Was that time out of school, I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but I was able to with the support, people helping me, wheeling me back and forth when I was in the wheelchair for the classes. So
Listen, speaking of support, um, on your post and what you just said now was the biggest decision of your life to amputate the leg after the motorcycle accident and after 24 surgeries. That is not an overnight decision. Talk us through how long did it take for you to make that decision, and then where was the point at which it was like, you know what, now's the time.
yeah, no, I definitely say that it was over 2 years just dealing with the pain, really led into it and really understanding that is this how we want to be moving forward? And it really doesn't look like it's improving. Um, so I'd just say the decision leading up to it, I was fortunate to have a friend and still friends to this day that's a triple amputee and actually helped me decide, give me some insight about what life was like kind of as an amputee. So that was a big one. And then I mean, just praying. I'm big on it now. It's definitely brought me closer to God through the battles that this has been. And it all works out. It really has. It's opened more doors than I can imagine.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, I we had Garrett Cates on a couple weeks ago, and it's faith is an enormous thing in his life. Faith obviously is an enormous thing in yours as well. And it's funny because, we oftentimes don't realize, until something that happens in that version, to that severity, to that, you need to be strong. You never know how strong you really are until you have to be strong. And where strength really lies is, the amount of faith that you have. Like, can you really surrender all these sensations and feelings of doubt, all these feelings of depression and anxiety? And a lot of guys in the same position, that don't have the same kind of faith, they fall to vices. They fall to their anxiety and depression, and prescription meds, and because it's a tough thing to do without that kind of and that level of faith, knowing, hey man, like, this is God's path for me. It's not my path for me. So tell us now, you made the decision. You prayed about it. You got wise counsel about it, and now the leg is gone. At that point, when you first lost the leg, you're now up and awake. You look down, there's no leg. What is going through your mind at that moment?
Man, it was so weird. I could still feel my toes. It was the weirdest thing.
That's real.
I'm like looking down. I'm like,
Oh,
what is going on? I'm wiggling them, but nothing's going on down there. And it actually inspired my buddy Paul and I did a TikTok video, and it was like you still had the sensation. And the reason we did it was because somebody sat down where my leg would have been, and I like flinched because I thought my leg was still there.
oh,
I was looking away.
yeah,
Um, and so then he's like, "Does it feel like I'm?" And so then we made the video, and it blew up. It was something
yeah,
crazy. So it was good, and that community again was just there to make light of the situation and bring it back. Um, that there was only up from here. Like this is the
okay,
lowest it's gonna be, and
yeah.
there is a plan for what's gonna happen next. So it was very positive, I'd say. After it was really just surgical pain, and then I was walking. I think in about 4 weeks after you got to swell down and then you're able to do the prosthesis and start walking and testing it out. But I picked up walking in about 15 minutes.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but it was certainly a lot of physical therapy prior to get the leg strong enough and everything.
So to
Well,
this day, do you still get like the phantom feelings and stuff, or does that go away?
So it was just after the surgery that they did it, and I
Mhm.
did. It's called TMR, and they all the nerves that they cut, instead of normally they tuck them in, and they just leave them and then they suit you up and then you're done. So that's why the muscle bellies are firing the the nerves, So actually they connected as many of the nerves back into a circuit again. So I don't get them too much. I'll get like a small one here and there, but uh, that definitely was interesting that we got that. It was like an
Awesome.
experimental thing. So it's cool.
Uh,
Very cool.
uh, well, listen, I know also the process of getting the prosthesis was a whole big thing. When you finally got the one that fits right, because I know because I've been was going through the process with you a bit of fitting this leg and then it's not fitting, and then the insurance is battling with you about it. When you actually got your robot leg, like how did it feel walking? Like, was there like riding a bicycle when you ride like a BMX versus like, a 10 speed? Was there, or was it like, bang, I could pick it right up again?
It was cool. So I actually just got the leg that I wanted forever now, because I play volleyball. Because the volleyball team was able to get it. It's waterproof. It's got like 5 different sensors, so it walks with me, and
That's
it's
awesome.
Oh,
pretty crazy.
cool.
I got a golf mode on it. It's crazy. I just pick up my phone and
Wow.
turn it on. But they're so advanced these days, especially this one. It walks to your cadence in step, and it's very
Whoa.
easy. Some of them aren't. You have like a training one that's a little bit weird to get into, but I picked it up pretty quick. I mean, it's just amazing the technology that they have. So it
So
was pretty.
does the golf mode like change the way the leg bends with like your motions that you would use during that sport?
Yeah, so it has a little bit more of a resistance into it, and then it doesn't let me go past a certain point. Um, so it's kind of more of a stable hydraulic in it. So then
Awesome.
it changes. If it's cycling, it'll just be kind of a free spool, and then walking has its different sensitivities as well.
Right. Let me ask you a question.
Nope.
We see, and I've seen a lot of those blades for like the sprinters.
Yeah.
Have you ever
Those are so
tried one of
cool.
those things?
Oh yeah, yeah. I got one.
Oh, do you?
I had it right over there, but yeah, no, it's like a Nike foot, and then Oser makes it, and it's like it's called the cheetah knee.
Okay.
So I mean, all the guys that are sprinting in the Paralympics right now are using them,
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, I think there was one guy that was ended up being faster than everyone else, and he
Yeah.
runs college track right now,
Oh, wow.
competitively. So he was up there doing D1 track still,
That's so cool.
competing.
That is insane. Does it actually give you an advantage? Does it feel like it's springing off there like you're sprinting?
I'd say if you have 2, yeah, it is, but for me, it's a little awkward because 'cause I'll get more spring from my left leg now, and then
Yeah.
my right leg kinda has to, like, brace for it a little bit because 'cause we're so high, going up,
Yeah.
or,
That's a whole new running form.
it is, it's a
That's
little
neat.
goofy for sure.
It's
Wow.
unbalanced performance, right? You
Yeah,
got too much power on the one side. Well, listen,
yeah.
speaking of performance, let's shift the gears because now surgery's happened. Now the leg is gone. Now we've graduated high school. And now we're trying to figure out what we got going on. And you've always been a guy that's had a good physique. Um, I
Sexy.
said I said yeah, I said earlier in 2020, um, Will won the national championship for teen overall physique for NPC. Tell us, how did that all come about? Like, where did that start? And I know you're a guy that always liked the gym, but how did that shift to, yo, let's do a bodybuilding show?
Yeah, no, it was just right before COVID, so it was a little weird time to get into it. They actually canceled the first show and everything, so it was really weird to do it during that time period because all the gyms closed and everything. But I got into it just because I really did enjoy the gym. I had seen some stuff online, was like, okay, that looks fun. I did the powerlifting in the past too, as well. So
Oh,
kind
that's right.
of like I'll do the powerlifting, and then we'll try out this side of things as well, just to see what I like. But yeah, I did one show in like Cape Coral,
Yeah,
placed first in that, and then I went to the national one and won that in Orlando. So it was pretty cool. It was really hard to diet that hard. I'm
yeah,
not doing it anymore. It's just way too strict. I mean, you're
yeah.
up at 5 a.m. in the morning doing cardio. So we'll focus on volleyball for now.
Yeah,
How
we've had a few other warriors doing the body stuff. Brandon McKnight did it.
Yep.
And he's back to powerlifting again. And then we had Erica Serafini, who's right now, I think, 20 weeks out from a major competition. And she's whining about foods but she's strong mentally. She gets through these things like crazy. And we have
Yeah.
a girl that graduated a couple years ago, Kaylee Davis, who's now getting big into it. So the mental toughness for that stuff is incredible. Like I, I don't know how y'all do it. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Tell us how you went with it. Tell us how many weeks did you go to cut for nationals? And tell us, was it difficult? Was it a difficult thing to do?
Yeah, it was difficult. Discipline mentally was the biggest thing. Knowing you need to get your 5, 6 meals in a day. You need to weigh it out, and you need to be in this range for all of these categories for carbs, protein, fat, and weighing the mental discipline just not to order something out at dinner,
Or have a
and
cheat
bringing
day.
meal prep with you instead. It's
Cheat
like, oh
day.
man, forget
what
about
what do those 6 meals look like?
chicken, rice, sweet potatoes if we're
So
lucky.
and it's all like I mean, it's just the same thing over and over. Do you get some variety?
You can if you want to do some fish that day, or maybe you do a leaner steak. And then as far as carbs go, I'd start to sub in some sweet potatoes. And that would be like the sweetest thing I could get. So
How many weeks did you go through?
I think it was almost a year. I know my first initial cutting prep was 20 weeks,
Okay, so
just
that's all
to
right.
slim down.
Yuck. Wow. And did it motivate you when you started seeing the shape coming and the cut coming that you're like, oh, or did you by the end of it, like every other, bodybuilder that we have, like, let's just get this thing over with because I'm like eating crackers for dinner and drinking water.
Yeah, I'd say I definitely, as soon as I started seeing the progress for it, and I knew that it was happening at this date, I'm not gonna show up anything less than what I'm putting into this right now. It's like I'm already gone this far, just finish it out.
Yeah.
And we had the cheat meals after. We definitely had a great dinner after, but then that was the first show. Couldn't have too much because we had the national show in like 4 weeks. So
What
Now
was your
I know this is going to be a surprise to you, but I'm what doctors would call mildly obese at this point, just a little bit large, right? So
Wildly?
I went from I went from being a college, athlete in elite shape, had a couple knee injuries, didn't change my diet as I should have and kind of slowly just lost my athletic build over the, last 10, 15 years. So at this point, say I want to do one of these cuts, right? Is it harmful for somebody that's not already in shape, or is it a good thing?
I'd say it's all about how extreme you want to approach it. I mean, to get down to the 3 to 5, 6% body fat range is really not.
Wild.
It's not easy.
That
It's
sounds
just
hard.
you're eating like a dog every day to make sure
Mhm.
you're getting the physique,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and you're just on the same things. But I'd say like if you want a higher range and to do it, it won't be harmful, because you're getting back to a healthier state, and even just the foods you're eating are going to be healthier as well.
Do you
All right,
still eat that
it's
way
my new
now?
nutrition coach right now.
Do you still do you still take some of that nutrition that you used to fuel you as a bodybuilder? Do you use some of that to help fuel you as a national team athlete?
Yep, yep. So I still have protein powder. Still will do some pre-workout before the gym. That's really about it. Main thing is the diet, what we're eating, and I'd say the vitamins as well. Just
Mm.
making sure when we get labs done that we're all in check, making sure we have vitamin C and D are in good levels and everything else. So we try and keep everything in a good diet range, but we certainly aren't like the bodybuilding one I was on before.
Yeah. Now tell us, because I know off the air, Coach Puskas was like, he's dying to know, how did the volleyball thing come up? And once the volleyball thing started back up, how did the national team come about?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been playing volleyball since I was 5. My sister was Gatorade Player of the Year, back home in Maine, so always was kind of around the court and knew about it, and then that was one of the reasons we actually moved from Maine to Florida was to play, a men's volleyball. So, I ended up doing club volleyball in middle school, and then stopped, when I started playing football in 7th grade.
Yeah.
But always kinda had that touch for it, pick up a game of volleyball in, my buddy's backyard. We'll always, I think we're doing something this weekend, just,
Yeah.
get the boys together, we're gonna have a fun time, but always had that, niche for it, and then
Yeah.
ended up once I amputated it, one of the players reached out, but it was too soon, so I
Yeah.
waited a couple of years and then, finally got to do their A2 program where you try it out in Oklahoma, and that's where all the athletes start out is, they'll fly you there, you have your 3-day camp, 2-a-days, where you get to learn the basics, how everything works, 'cause,
Yeah.
there's some different things with it. You can block a serve, instead of normal volleyball, you can't. So things
Oh,
like
that's
that,
neat.
getting the movement down, and then that's their A2 program where they then move you up, once you're ready.
Nice. How did you get involved? How did you get started with the A2? Did you say, "Hey, I'm interested in giving this a shot," or did you play in, a league or something, and then they go, "Hey, yo, this guy can actually play a little bit of volleyball." How did that come about?
Yeah, it was truly just that one player reached out to me, Zach up on the team, and
Yeah.
he ended up just saying, "Hey, saw your." It was that TikTok that Paul and I made. He saw that
Yeah.
online and was like, "Wait, he's played volleyball before. Like this would be great to get him involved." So that's my first Paralympic sport I've tried, and we're now doing it full
Of course,
time.
are there more in the
Killing it.
works?
Killing it.
We can figure out if we want to do anything in the winter, but right now volleyball is the focus. I'm sure. We could do the bench press,
Mm.
is,
Oh,
that's
wow.
the only lift, that they have for powerlifting, so maybe we can, get
Oh,
back into that.
wow.
I
Nice.
I actually took my first trip to Maine last year. My sister and my nephews live up there, and what a beautiful state,
Yep.
but what a weird place.
Yeah.
It's such a different place, man.
It's,
So good move. Good move.
right, yeah. No, we were down in Key West and in March, and we came back home, and just a snowstorm happened, and we had to shovel to get in the house with all our luggage, and my mom and dad were like, "We're moving down to Florida. We're not dealing with this,"
Yeah,
so
so Haverford's the grocery store up there. I'm not sure if you remember,
Hannaford,
but
yep, yep.
Hannaford. My nephews both work there, and I think last winter they had 3 power outages where
Ew.
they had to throw out the entire like grocery store of food because they couldn't get the power back on. I'm like, you guys don't have generators? I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Listen, just open the doors. It's
That's what I
freezing
said.
outside.
I said
And just keep everything
I would have gone
cold.
straight to the
Yeah.
trash can, taken everything home to my yard, and just buried it in
Yeah,
the
just
Yeah.
yard.
throw it in the snow. It's
Yeah.
fine. That's
uh,
craziness. So
Mainers.
tell us what the schedule of a US sitting volleyball national team member is. Well, now that we're on this topic, stay on it. What does your day look like? What does your year look like? What does a season for you guys look like?
Yeah. In the morning, waking up, trying to do it before work around 5 a.m. to get a gym session in. And then afternoon, after working, we'll just do kind of a volleyball net in my garage and doing some practice there, whether it be setting into a hoop I have or just working on serving and whatever else I may be working on. But Netherlands is coming up, as I said, next week, and then after that would be the Paralympics, but we didn't qualify, so we'll still have our camps, and that's monthly. We always meet. It's from Thursday to Sunday, and we do 2 a day on. Um, we fly in Thursday, Friday we do a 2 a day, and then Saturday a 2 a day, and then Sunday we all fly home. So we all meet in Oklahoma. We all fly in, and then we're back home on Monday morning for work.
Now, is that headquarters for USA Volleyball is Oklahoma? Why Oklahoma?
So sitting volleyball specifically does. Their
Okay,
headquarters there are just that gymnasium is specifically set up in line for it.
okay,
And the team does go to Colorado Springs every now and then to go practice as well.
yeah.
So that's mainly Oklahoma is the main spot for the men's and women's city national teams.
Now I looked at the roster, and you're by far the youngest guy on that roster. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys that have been on there for quite some time too. Um, do you think that obviously now your target is LA in 2028? Um, how many of the guys that you're playing with now do you think you'll be playing with then? And are they going to recruit? Are they, I mean, yours is a very, is a unique way that they recruited you. What are they doing to recruit athletes the same way that they recruited you?
Yeah, so they'll still be doing that A2 program to bring in athletes, and we're doing more tournaments where we'll go to the AAU tournaments and play. We'll bring in a team like Canada. We just had a Canada versus USA at a Boston tournament. So people got to see it and they saw us playing. Well, a girl in a wheelchair came up and was like, "I want to learn about this. I want to do it." So then we
Awesome.
then give her the information for the A2 program so she can try it out, see what she likes, doesn't like, and then practice if she liked to. So we're starting to do that to grow the sport. And then I did a camp a couple months ago to just kind of show volleyball. That was at a tournament as well. So we're recruiting because we do need to get some, you know, more
Yeah,
people involved in it. There is only one other guy, Zach, who reached out. He's 24, so that's the
okay,
other younger guy on the team. But there's certainly a lot to learn from the guys that have been playing it for some of them 20 years. They've been playing this
yeah.
sport. And they're really, really good at it. So it's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool to watch and learn from them right now.
which is
And can I
awesome.
ask you, just because I'm not familiar completely, to be a potential member of the sitting team, what are the requirements for that?
So the Paralympic requirements, it's different for every sport. Track has a bunch of other ones, but volleyball is just if you're missing a limb, one guy has any nerve damage that you may have, a limb deficiency where it may just be muscle atrophy or something of that nature.
So,
Uh,
like a knee, would knee or hip replacement be potential for that or no?
no, no, yeah, no. So that they have it's a they identify which level of disabled you are,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
they make that judgment to see if you're a level 1 where you can have as many as you'd like on the court at a time, or if you're a level 2, a partial, then you can only have 2 players on the team that are a partial. So, like,
That's interesting.
if you're just missing your fingers, that would be a partial.
Mm.
But if
okay.
you're missing a leg like I am, I'm a 1 where
Uh,
you're able to have as many on the court at one time. But if it's, just a finger or something like that, you're only limited to 2, so you can't have too many playing on.
well, now how many? Is it the same as regular volleyball where there's 6 people per team?
Yep, yep, so 6
Yeah,
people, on each side, you're sitting on the floor, the
sure.
net is about waist high if you were to stand up,
Yeah,
and whenever you're touching the ball, you need to, always have your butt on the ground, and
okay.
that's kind of the interesting thing about it is the movement is very actually harder for you, with 2 legs than me because it's not in the way.
Yeah,
So any arm amputees have a harder time moving around. That was the big thing
yeah,
for me
yeah,
was to be in my spot, a second before the ball got there, because in normal volleyball standing, you're able to move while you're, receiving everything, but you had to
yeah,
have your hands to move and stuff, so
yeah,
it
So you
was
have to
definitely a
predict
learning
things a
curve.
lot.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a very fast-paced game too. I mean,
Very cool.
it's, just a shorter court as well, so everything's
yeah.
coming and
It's fast.
it's interesting to see, how other teams have a pace of play just totally different, where it's a point in 3 seconds, really. They're just amazing
Mm.
at it.
Is the scoring system the same as volleyball as well too? Like 25, and then best of 3 sets or whatever it is, or best of 5 sets?
Yeah, so, 25, best of 3 sets, and then if you're tied 2 and 2, you'll go to a 5th set of 15. So, normal
Oh
volleyball
wow.
rules.
Okay. Nice. That's
And
that's amazing. I only have ever seen this is full honesty and full disclosure. I've only watched sitting volleyball because of you. I never even knew there was such a thing, and I was like, wait, what? So I started watching it. It's super close quarters. That's the one
Oh
thing I
yeah.
noticed. Like, damn, there's like dudes that were like big upper bodies, and
Oh
they
yeah.
can reach over the net, and they're like, and it's super short. So it's like playing pickleball with a guy that's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
So it's super easy for some guys, but they're always like guys are like diving around because it's hard to like move in that small space, but it's also because they don't have that disability. I didn't know that that was part of a rule that you had to keep your butt on the ground. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah. It
now, do you with the smaller court, do you get a lot of collisions and stuff with your teammates?
Not with our teammates, but man, it's like one time every camp, somebody is just not ready because
Mhm.
it happens so quick and they're not getting a concussion from volleyball, but
Just
they need to get off
smashed.
the court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
So,
that is my favorite part of volleyball. And I watch only reason why I go to watch Steinbrenner volleyball is because the somebody's not paying attention now. Ah, bam!
oh yeah.
Like straight off the head, off the
Yeah.
dome. And then when I
Uh,
at Steinbrenner, I'm like, I'm out. That's all I wanted to see today. But that does
got my
happen
fill.
in in sitting volleyball as well too. I imagine because some of those guys are big. There's a
Oh
guy on
yeah.
your team that he looks like a bodybuilder. Like he looks like he's huge up top. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to get hit by a volleyball sitting or standing by that guy.
Yeah,
You know what I
no,
mean?
it wakes you up the first time. I mean, there's one guy there that it's actually a he's his forehead is at the net, and you're just like, where do you even go? I mean, his arms are like fully over the net. There's nowhere you can even try and defend the guy. He's on Iran. They're the number one team in the world, but just an amazing player. And it's crazy to see something like that. You're like, I don't,
Yeah.
this is just a new level to experience. So that's been one of the big things is learning everything at a quick pace.
Do you rotate? Like in volleyball, they rotate and then everyone takes a turn to serve, right? Is it the same thing when the possession turns over? Do you guys rotate and does everybody get to serve? And I know there's a in regular volleyball also there's a libero, which is
Libero.
like
Libero,
a
yep.
libero, like it's a like a
Librarian.
just a librarian. Fact check that one.
Yeah, yeah. Look
But
at the volleyball
do you
rules.
guys have the positions the same way as well too? Where there's a libero and people that are like middle blockers and obviously you're a setter, but you rotate the same way that regular volleyball does as well too.
Yeah, yeah, everything's the same on that level. Really the same positions. Taller guys are typically going to be an outside hitter or a middle blocker, and then the
Yeah,
libero or setter is shorter. Um, and everyone rotates, everyone serves.
yeah,
Um, so it's definitely something. Some things are different, but certainly the aspects of volleyball are all still there.
yeah.
But it makes a really fun game.
Well, I'll tell you, that was one thing I noticed when guys are spiking the ball, they they're big guys. They're big guys that can just go whack. But I
Powerful.
never realized that they couldn't get off the ground. And
Yeah.
that was something that is that what happens, say this
Mhm.
guy like pops up off of the ground and bam, smashes it down or spikes it. Is that a loss of point, loss of possession kind of thing?
Right. Yep. Yeah. So it's called a butt lift, and it's called on whoever does it. And if you do it, you lose the point. Your team does. The ball goes
Oh
to the other
wow.
side, and then they're serving. But yeah,
Okay.
it's. I mean, the refs sometimes see it all day. Other
Yeah.
times they let it slide because it's you know everyone's trying to get just a little bit higher, and you can't jump. It's
Yeah.
like, man, at least in standing volleyball, I could, jump a little bit to help my case here. I'm sure anyways.
Yeah.
Uh, but here I'm just like, I'm stuck. I'm like, man, I can't do anything. So
Well, but there's also as small as the court is, the ball moves like really, really fast. And that's when I
yeah.
was watching you guys play. You have some on your social media too, where you're serving stuff. That's it. If I was a referee, I wouldn't be able to react quick enough to see how that moves. So You know, imagine if you got a real tall guy that just and you're moving quick, like you said, 3 seconds a point. Um, I can imagine that'd be because there's only one ref and like two line judges, like in regular volleyball, also, right?
Yep. So you'll have the two on the net and then two line judges as well. And then at the international level, we'll get a ball boy to help us because it's not fun when you're on the ground and the ball does not go anywhere near you, and then you gotta get up, go get it. It's a
It's
pain. So they help us out. They're there too on the crew.
that's awesome.
Hey,
So
breaking
Netherlands.
news. Breaking
Oh,
news, real quick. Florida Panthers win the NHL and bring the cup back to Florida. Okay, go ahead. That
There
was
we
not very
go.
really?
exciting.
That,
There we go.
that's
Best
amazing.
hockey in the world is played in Florida. Isn't that crazy?
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But what's more ridiculous is that it's not the Lightning. The Panthers have been around so long and they've been awful. You know what I mean? And
Now
nobody
they're
goes to watch them. And
yeah
now all of a sudden they're Stanley Cup winners. What was the score and what was the series?
2-1. Panthers were up 3-0 and then dropped to 3-3. Is like one of the first times in history.
Whoa.
And then they closed it out tonight.
At
Would have been
home
like the
or
first time
away?
since the 40s that if they would have lost.
Oh
I
wow.
don't know if it was at home. I think it was at home.
Uh, Who
Cubs
cares? We
coming back
win.
to Florida,
Who cares?
guys.
We
That's sweet.
win.
Okay,
Yeah.
back to more exciting sports than hockey.
Yes. So tell us, when are you leaving again for Netherlands?
That'll be next Tuesday. Yep.
Wow, for
So
how
we'll
long?
be there for just about a week. I'll be flying back on Monday and then right back to it. So
Nice.
To
So
talk about
listen, we
real quick,
go ahead, go ahead,
the
go ahead.
the mindset. You guys have worked your butts off to get to Paris, and then unfortunately, you don't get the job done in China. Um, what's the mindset like as an athlete at that level? Having to accept the fact that that door's shut. How do you open another door and get ready to start going again?
yeah, no, it's hard, especially the second place finish when we needed the win. That was the last bid into Paris. Everything was on the line there to make sure we were going to qualify. We beat them in pool play too. It was terrible. I mean, we beat them in pool play and then just couldn't convert in the championship there. But you know, it happened. And moving forward, there's LA 2028. We're host country. This is our time to build and fix those errors that we had and move on from there. Was our big thing. It's a huge loss. It is. But that at that level, it's moving forward. What's next? Um, and we're gonna fine tune some things.
Well, what's really cool as an educator and coach is um, you are not the only Steinbrenner warrior that was in the Olympic trials this year. We had Lexi Mullaville, who's a swimmer at Auburn, who made it to the 50 free trials, got second in her heat, didn't advance on. But she's going to be back for 2028 going for it. We have currently 4 flag girls that are in the USA system that are all trying to get an opportunity to go play in 2028. Flag's going to be an Olympic sport for the first time. So it's awesome to see the amount of talent from our area. We just had a young man win the state title in swimming by a long shot, and I believe it was the butterfly. And his goal is to try and make 2028. So we got an awesome talent pool from Lutz that are trying to represent us in 2028, and we're really excited for you. So impressed by you, man, and just want you to know what an inspiration you are to us. And we're just super excited to see you continue to just go on this path and go get that dream, man.
Speaking of,
I appreciate it.
yeah, speaking of, tell us about your favorite Steinbrenner football moment. Tell me what inspired you when you were in high school.
Oh man, inspired me. I'd say, let's think here. Inspired me was I'd say just going back to it at first was the community with it, waking up for workouts in the summer when there's some other things to do during the summer, but you're waking up and you're working with these guys to get better. So I'd say that inspired me to work for more than just myself and find
Nice.
pride in working for other things. and not just, focusing on self, but understanding that there's a bigger picture to everything was pretty inspiring.
What was your favorite memory at Steinbrenner? Favorite football memory?
I'd say, but the bus rides home when we won were just great. Everyone celebrating all the hard work that we'd put in that week. Were always
Oh, yeah.
great. And I'd say all time favorite was the banana pudding.
Ooh.
Right before the game, Friday Night Lights. I'd say
Yeah.
that was my favorite.
So good, right?
And
Oh, yeah.
just, getting to talk with the guys, sit down, have a meal beforehand too,
Yeah.
was great.
Awesome. Well, tell us too. We like to do this before we close out every show is um now you've obviously and clearly gone on to bigger and better things. But there are other guys, kids, really, guys and gals that are have seen this or have are watching this now and finding inspiration and have heard your tragedy, your triumph over tragedy story. Talk to us. Tell us or tell them um, something inspirational from you that they can carry with them after watching this episode.
Yeah, I'd say that football has instilled many things, life lessons for me, that I still use to this day. Some of them given by you guys as my coaches, some just being a student of the game, and I learned what hard work really meant during, for like I was saying, those summer conditioning workouts, and then it just motivated me to work harder even when I wasn't starting some of those years. I got moved up my sophomore year. So I was behind guys like I am now. I'm back up. And it's always just learning the game, working harder for the next thing. So
Nice. Well, listen, that is awesome. And we appreciate you very much. We are so proud of you. You inspire us, and we are very much so appreciative of your time joining us. Best of luck in the Netherlands. We will be watching out, and those who have watched this episode, go follow Will Curtis 23 on Instagram. Follow him too. What an awesome guy, Will. We love you very much. We appreciate you. Best of luck. Go Warriors. Let us know how you do, and go Warriors. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Love
guys
you,
for having me.
Listen,
buddy.
Love you
on
guys.
that, we are out. See you on the next one.